Hare Krishna. Welcome to the summary of chapter 4, which we covered last Sunday in our Golok Gurukul class at Slough Hindu Temple. Before we move on, let's try and understand the link between chapter 3 and chapter 4. In chapter 3, Krishna towards the end is speaking about lust. Krishna said, this lust, which is Mahashana, Mahapapna, is covering the knowledge. And along with that, Krishna spoke, one should do Nishkam Karma Yoga. That one should do their duty without getting attached to the results. And when someone does that, he becomes eligible to receive the transcendental knowledge. And if someone gains the transcendental knowledge, what happens? Number one, they move from Sakam Karma Yoga to Nishkam Karma Yoga. Sakam Karma Yoga is the person is attached to the results and to the work itself. And Nishkam Karma Yoga is the person who's detached from the results of the work. And number two, anyone who receives this transcendental knowledge, the intelligence becomes so much sharpened that such person with such deliberate spiritual intelligence, he can conquer over the lust. Very, very important point. And also with that transcendental knowledge, a person can move from a mode of passion to the mode of goodness. In chapter 3, shloka number 30, Krishna said, by surrendering all your work onto me with full knowledge of me. By listening to this, Arjuna must have a question. With the full knowledge of me? Who will give me this knowledge? And Krishna is now saying, I will give you this transcendental knowledge. And I will also tell you how this transcendental knowledge is received with proper channel. So, this chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is known as stuti. That is what is heard. That is that which is heard, stuti. In bygone ages, people would hear such knowledge, remember it, assimilate it, and communicate to the next person without any adulteration. All of us have two eyes, one tongue, which means we need to look twice and talk once. We have two ears and one mouth, so that we listen more and talk less. We have two hands and one stomach, so we can work twice as much as you need. And even your brain, if you look at it, brain has two parts. But the heart is only one. There is only one heart. So you should think twice, but love once. So everything, especially in the world of education, all the knowledge we gain is through the medium of ears. Ears are meant to acquire transcendental knowledge. Krishna has given us two ears. Why two? Why not 3 or 4? Why two? The reason is because in one ear Krishna speaks and in other ear temptation whisper. So in one ear Krishna is speaking and in another ear Maya is speaking. Unfortunately, Krishna's sound is very feeble. We can't hear it very loudly. But Maya's sound is very, very loud. So technically, in one ear, Krishna is telling us, become Krishna conscious, become a devotee. And on the other ear, Maya is loudly telling us, no, don't become a devotee, enjoy life. Which one to hear? The choice is always remain ours, whom to listen to. Chapter 4 is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. It is the knowledge which outlines how one can establish their divine connection with God. Basically, aim to see the God through the ears rather than the eyes. And that took us nicely to the acronym of this chapter is eternal education, accurate understanding, removing reactions, sacrifice. Eternal education. In this section, Krishna is talking about the parampara in which the knowledge is given. Krishna said he gave the knowledge to sun god Vivaswan. So how old is this knowledge? Sun is the planet and Vivaswan is the person who is in charge of the planet. Vivaswan existed 120 million years before. So Vivaswan was told this knowledge by Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is actually 120 million years old. Vivaswan gives this knowledge to the father of mankind, Manu, and Manu in turn gives this to Ishwaku. Lord Ram comes under Ishwaku dynasty. Ishwaku is the part of Earth planet. So on Earth, Bhagavad Gita exists for approximately 20 lakh years. So how old is Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is 120 million years old, and on Earth it is known for 20 lakh years. Gita was spoken to Arjuna 5,000 years ago. Now that this knowledge is lost, Krishna said, I am giving this knowledge to you again. And what is the qualification to receive this Bhagavad Gita? Here Krishna said, Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Krishna said, you are my friend and my devotee. So you are qualified to receive this transcendental knowledge. After hearing this, Arjuna had a question. You said you gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, but he appeared millions of years ago. And you are my contemporary. How is this possible? Krishna answered this question in the subsequent shlokas. Krishna said, we both have taken many births together. You don't remember, but I remember all of that. In the next shloka, Krishna mentioned why he appears. Shloka number 7 is very, very important. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhityanam atharmasya tadatmanam srijanyamham. Whenever there is a decline in religion and predominance of irreligion, that time Krishna appears. Why he appears? Krishna gives 3 reasons. Paritranaya sadhunam, to protect his devotees. Vinashaya cha dushkritam, to annihilate the miscreants. Dharma sansthapanaya, to establish the dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge, he appears millenniums after millennium for this purpose. Accurate understanding. This section is about the accurate understanding, and Krishna clears up 3 common misunderstandings. Verse 11. Here Krishna states that he reciprocates with everyone as they surrender unto him. For those who deny the existence of God, he meets in the form of the law of karma. He sits inside their heart, notes their action, and dispenses the result. But such atheists too cannot get away from serving him. They are obliged to serve God's material energy, Maya, in its various spirits as wealth, luxuries, relatives, prestige, etc. Maya holds them under the sway of anger, lust, and greed. And on the other hand, for those who turns their mind away from worldly attraction and look upon God as a goal and refuge, he takes care of them just as a mother takes care of her child. Verse 12. People who seek worldly gain worship the celestial gods and seek boons from them. The boons the celestial gods bestow are material and temporary. They are given only by the virtue of the power they have received from Supreme Lord. The celestial God gives boon only by the power bestowed upon them by the Supreme Lord. People with small understanding approach them. But those who are intelligent realize that there is no point in going into the intermediary. They approach the Supreme Lord for the fulfillment of their aspirations. People are of various kinds, possessing higher and lower aspirations. Shri Krishna now mentions 4 categories of qualities and works. And that is in verse 13. Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam. There are 4 Varnas. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And if someone just follows the duty of those particular Varnas, then the person will get purified. After this, Krishna is telling us, I have created this system, but then all of this work doesn't affect me. Even if I do work, no, it doesn't affect me. So in this way, we get the accurate understanding. Removing reactions. In this section, Krishna is talking about karma, intricacies of karma. Understanding karma on the platform of Jnana. Initial shloka, Krishna explains how difficult it is to understand the intricacies of karma. He speaks about action, inaction, forbidden action. After speaking about all of this, he's talking about symptoms of a detached worker. How can we understand that this person is working without getting attached to the results? That is basically he is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. How will we understand this? Krishna provides loads of wonderful qualities. For example, such a person is satisfied and independent. He performs no fruitive actions. He gives up all sense of proprietorship. He is perfectly sense control, level of mind, level of intelligence. He is free from duality. He does not envy. And then such a person who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merge entirely into transcendence. That person attains perfection. At the end, Krishna introduces a term called yagna. After hearing this, Arjuna must have a question. Can you tell me more about yagna? And the next section is all about that. Yagna, sacrifice or yagna. Sloka 25 to 29, Krishna mentions different types of sacrifices. Dravya yagna, sacrificing the possessions. Tapo yagna, severe austerity. Yog yagna, this is practicing eightfold mysticism. Swadhyaya Jnana yagna, studying the Vedas. After this, Krishna is speaking about the purpose of sacrifice, the development of jnana, i.e. development of knowledge from these sacrifices. After this, Krishna explains the destruction of sins. When someone performs these sacrifices, the sins get destroyed and person attains spiritual realm. So in this way, Krishna covers the purpose of sacrifice, which is to attain the knowledge. That is very clear. Is there any easy way to attain jnana? This is covered in this shloka number 34. Very, very important shloka for all the sadhakas. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnani nastatva darshanaha. If you want to attain this knowledge quickly, better go and approach Tattvadarshi, one who is enlightened and self-realized. How to approach? Approach with full surrender. Render service seva, then acquire from him. very, very submissively. So this is the best way, Arjuna. So after attaining jnana, it talks about the glories of transcendental knowledge. What happens with the person who gets this transcendental knowledge? What is the result? Just to name a few. Even if the person is sinful of all the sinners, that person will be able to cross the ocean of miseries. Then by getting this transcendental knowledge, all the reactions burn into ashes. There is nothing so sublime and pure as this transcendental knowledge. And who can acquire this transcendental knowledge? Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The one who has the faith, that can attain transcendental knowledge. What about those who don't have faith? What will happen to them? Vinashyanti. They will just fall. Such a person will never get happiness, nor in this world or next. Finally, Krishna said, anyone who acts in devotional service, renounces the fruit of his actions, all his doubts are destroyed, he is situated in himself, and he becomes self-realized. And such person is not bound by the reaction of any work. So after telling all this, Krishna is appealing to Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, stand up and fight. In this chapter, Krishna described various wonderful things. All these shlokas, one essence is very clear. In this age of Kali Yuga, we can perfect our life by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's it for me for chapter number 4. After hearing all this, Krishna said, get up and fight. Arjuna will have a question, isn't it? He'll ask a question, and that's how our chapter 5 will start, which we'll cover in my next video. Hare Krishna.